God this morning. I ask you to receive her with a hearty preach the word.
Being moved. Strongholds are still being loosed. God, we believe, 'cause yes, we can see it, that wonders are still what you do. Bodies are still being raised. Giants are still being slain. God, we believe it. Yes, we can see it, that wonders are still what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. 'Cause we need a move. We need a move. 'Cause we need a move. We need a move. Mountains are still being moved. Strongholds are still being loosed. God, we believe, 'cause yes, we can see it, that wonders are still what you do. And bodies are still being raised. Giants are still being slain. God, we believe, yes, we can see it, that wonders are still what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. 'Cause we need a move. Hallelujah. 'Cause we need a move. Somebody say, this is a move. Hallelujah. This is a move. Oh yeah. This is a move. This is a move. Miracles happen when you move. Healing is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. Father, we thank you right now. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We thank you for a move. We thank you, oh God, because we know that you are moving in our midst right now. We thank you because we know that you are a miracle worker. Mountains are being moved right now. Hallelujah. Oh God. Chains are being loosed right now. Hallelujah. Minds are being healed right now. Bodies are being delivered right now. Spirits are being delivered, oh God. We thank you, Lord. We thank you for a move of the please, to the book of Genesis, chapter number 31. We thank God for the opportunity to stand before you on today. We give honor to our pastor, the man of God in this house. Come on, somebody. Say thank God for the man of God. Hallelujah. 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 Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. We're going to be in Genesis 31. We're going to do it a little bit different because there is so much here. I had to kind of refrain myself. I was like, Lord, you're giving me too much. I got about 20 messages in this passage. Help me. So I might do a little hitting and skipping in there. I might tell you a little bit and tell you hold that for later. Maybe God will give us a chance sometime in the future to talk about it a little bit more. But I'm going to just plant a few seeds throughout this passage. And I'm going to not make you stand for the whole thing because we're going to read a lot today. But we're going to start in the book of Genesis chapter 31. And I'll just have you read with me the first 13 verses, then you can have a seat. If we can begin. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all the glory. Let me just throw this seed in here. The wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. Hallelujah. Verse number 2. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, return unto the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock. And he said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before. But the God of my father hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father. And your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him not to hurt me. And he said thus, the speckle shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckle. And if he said thus, the ringstrake shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ringstrake. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father, and given them to me. And it came to pass, at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes, and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-straight, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob, and I said, here am I. And he said, lift up now thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straight, speckled, and grizzled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out of this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. May the Lord bless the reading of his word. You may be seated. My topic today, and I'm going to give that to you, and then we're going to keep on going, and I promise I'll bring it together at the end. But our topic today is double-double. 2020, we're going double-double. And I just wanted some time to explain that to you. I said it earlier, but I wanted some time to explain it to you. And the Lord bless that on the second Sunday of the year 2020, we're going to talk about double-double. All right. I want to go back just a little bit. We have here in this passage, Jacob talking to his wives and saying, I'm preparing to leave up out of here because your daddy don't like me no more. And I'm seeing that he looks like he might be ready to plan something evil against me. I've noticed your brothers have been talking about me, and they've been whispering that I have taken everything that was your father's. So it's time for me to get up out of here. God told me it's time for me go back to the land of my kindred, to go back to the place where I came from. Now, so he says it's time to go back. But back where? Where is this? So I began to look, and I want to give you a little bit of background. I know this is a familiar story, but when we see Jacob here, it really started with Abraham. Abraham was in the land of Ur of the Chaldees, and God spoke to him and said, I want to call you apart, and I want to take you to a place that you've never been. I just need you to trust me. I know you don't know how to get there, but if you trust me, I'll take you there. And I know you don't know me because you never served me before, but if you trust me, I'll get you there. If you trust me, I will bless you. If you trust me, I will multiply you. If you just trust me and go where I tell you to go, there is a promise there for you. There is a blessing there for you. So come and follow me. And we know the story of Abraham and Lot and how they moved out and they went to this land of Canaan. And when Abraham got there, he said, look, and I want you to look at all the sand. I want you to look everywhere that your eye can see. I'm going to give it to you. Everywhere your feet can step, I'm going to give it to you. And your seed will be multiplied and multiplied to the point that you can't even count them anymore. And we have Abraham here. And Abraham had a wife. Her name was Sarah. And Sarah was barren. And so Abraham knew he had a promised seed, but he didn't know how he was going to get there. And Sarah, being Abraham's half-sister, and so I want to bring that out because some things follow the family line. And Sarah was Abraham's half-sister, and we know that she was very beautiful. And she was so beautiful that when Abraham traveled, he was afraid for his life, even though God promised him that he would protect him. Even though God promised him that he had a promised seed, he began to get concerned because the men would see how beautiful Sarah was and might kill him in order to get her. So he devised a cunning plan to deceive. And he said, when they ask you who you are, tell them that you are my sister. Don't tell them that you are my wife. And we know that in 2 occasions that happened, and God had to intervene to stop those who took her from being killed and destroyed. And in every time, even though the situation was not ideal, even though Abraham lied, even though he was conniving and deceiving, he still got blessed out of it. Because every time when he did it, they sent Sarah back to him, and they sent her back with a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of jewels, a whole bunch of gold, and a whole bunch of cattle, and he was enriched. But then we see that Sarah had a son, and the son was Isaac. And when Abraham grew old, and he said, I need to take a wife for Isaac, but I don't want her to be out of the land of Canaan. So he took a very trusted servant, and he said, I need you to swear to me that you will go and find a wife back out of my kindred from the place I came from. I need you to go back to my family and go find a wife for him. And the servant said to him, he said, well, now what if she won't come with me? He said, well, I'm going to pray for you that God will bless you in your efforts. He said, but if she won't come, should I take your son to her? And Abraham said, no, whatever you do, swear to me that you will not take my son back to a place that God called me out of. Now, I've got to ask you, because when I read that, the thought came to me, if God took us out of the world, and we are grateful, and we talk about how glad I am to be saved, that God delivered me out of the place
Rebekah. And Rebekah was beautiful, and she came, and Isaac loved her. But we also see that Rebekah, she had 2 children. She had Isaac and her, well, let me go back. Jacob and Esau. And Jacob and Esau had a problem, but that's not where I want to go. But thank you, I appreciate that. Isaac and Ishmael is what I want to talk about, because there's some things that run in the family line. Isaac and Ishmael, when they were born, and I want to make sure I get it right, there was conflict. Right? There was conflict between 2 brothers. Now we come back forward, and we now have Rebekah, who is here, and she has twin sons, Jacob and Esau. And she loved Jacob, but Isaac loved Esau. And conflict between brothers grew. But now remember where Rebekah came from. Remember when Abraham got in trouble, he didn't have no problem being a little deceptive. And here comes Rebekah. And she says, now, God had already told her that Jacob would rule as the younger over the elder. But she said, he about to give out a blessing. And at this time, Isaac had grown old and couldn't see. So she devised a plan with her younger son to deceive her husband, his father, and so he could steal the blessing from his brother. So we know that not only did he steal the blessing, but he also stole his birthright. And so now Jacob is in a point that because there's conflict now between him and his brother, because Esau said, I'm going to kill this man. I'm going to kill him. That Rebekah said, look, I need you to run to my brother's house. You go on to my brother's house. She goes, I'm going to talk to your daddy, and we're going to deceive him one more time. And she went to him and she said, I don't want my son to take a wife of these Canaanites. So you send him over there so he can go get a wife. But she was sending him there to save his life because she knew Esau was going to take him down. Yes. So they get there, and where is he running? He's running to the place of deception. Yes. Yes. He's running to the family issue that seemed to have prevailed all the way down the family line. Conflict between brothers and deceit. Yes, yes. So here we have him, and he's on his way to the place, but God stops him, and he gives him a vision, and he lets him know, you're about to be changed. All right. He goes, now you go do what you got to do, but you need to remember who I am. See, you have not had a relationship with me. I had a relationship with your granddaddy. I had a relationship with your father, but you don't know me yet, and it's time for us to get to know each other. And he had this vision, and when he had this vision of God telling him who he was and what he was going to do in his life, he woke up in this place and he said, I'm going to call this place Bethel because it is where God is dwelling. He said, and I'm going to put this rock here and know that this is a place where God is. And he continued on his way to Laban's house. And when he gets to Laban's house, because he's running for his life because of deceit, there is where he meets his wives, Rachel and Leah. And it is in this place that he has his children. It is in this place that he was only meant to be here for a couple days until Esau cooled down. We find that he was there for 20 years. And I'm going to get to that, why the 20 years was important. But here we have God speaking to him and saying, look here, Jacob, you were never designed to stay in this place. I told your great-grandfather to come out of this place and to season. Where you are today, you might have gotten there because you messed up. You may have gotten there because you lied. You may have gotten there because you cheated. You may have gotten there because you got outside of the will of God. But God said in 2020, it's time to come back. It's time to come back to a place of blessing. It's time to come back to a place of promise. It's time to come back to a place of deliverance. It's time to come back to where I called you to. It's time to come back to a place of sacrifice. It's time to come back to a place of worship. It's time to come back to a place where you had communion with me. It's time to come back. And I want to talk to the backsliders. Whether you have officially backslidden, or you just gone back on your prayer life, or you just kind of slid back from fasting, or you slid back from praying, or you slid back from worshiping. But God said to tell you, all is not lost. He said, I knew what you were going to do before you ever did it. I knew what you were like. I knew the struggles you had. I knew your weakness. I knew your failure. And it was all a part of the plan. What are you talking about, Evangelist? You telling me when I sinned, it was a part of the plan. Well, let me tell you, let me show it to you like this. Jacob got to where he was, not because he was a good boy, not because he did what was right, but because he stole, because he deceived, and because he lied. That's why he was where he was. But even in that place, that's where he had to go in order for God to deal with him. That's where he had to go in order for God's plan to come to fruition. In that place where he ran to is where he got his 2 wives. In that place where he ran to is where he got his sons. In that place where he ran to is where he met his connection with God. So when somebody tells you you can't because of everything that you did, when they tell you you can't achieve because of where you were weak, when he tells you you cannot do it because of your mess-ups, you need to tell him, no, 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 no. Because of my mess-ups, I found a place of repentance. It was when I messed up that I heard from God. It was there when I messed up that God let me experience his grace. It was there when I messed up that God blessed me. It was there when I fell short, when I made that wrong decision, that God rescued me. Hallelujah. He said, but in 2020, it's time to go back to the place where you first believed. Don't throw up your hands, but come back to where God first blessed you. God told him, look here, I've seen everything that Laban did to you. I saw how he lied to you. I saw how he deceived you. And in response, you gave your all. Even though he did you wrong, you gave your all. We were talking in Sunday school a few weeks ago. He said, what do you do if somebody steals from you? What do you do if somebody does you wrong? What if they do you dirty? Well, here's the answer. Do you want to recompense yourself, or do you want God to recompense you? He said, look here, because you didn't go and deceive Laban in return, because see, And Laban said to Jacob, why hast thou done that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, with tabret, and with harps, and hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. But the God of your father spake to me yesternight, saying, take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. What is this saying? He had meant to deceive him even more. He said, those are my sons. Your sons belong to me. Those are my daughters. Even though you worked for them 20 years and I gave them to you. He said, but now you see the heart of Laban. Everything that's yours, he thinks belongs to him. And he said, I would have sent you away with a party. No, you wouldn't have. You would have tried to find another way to keep him there. That's why he had to sneak out. Some of y'all need to sneak away from the devil. Y'all need to quit trying to talk him out of stuff. You need to quit trying to negotiate. You need to quit trying to reason. And you need to steal away in the middle of the night. Just leave. Don't talk to him because he's conniving. He's conniving. He's deceiving. He's manipulative. And sometimes you just need to... Some of y'all can't get out of bad relationships because they know how to manipulate you. Stop telling them you're leaving. Just go. He said, it's in the power of my hand. He said, in other words, he said, I could kill you right now. I want to kill you right now. He said, but God told me not to even speak a mean word to you. I can't because your God has interceded. Don't you know the enemy wants to destroy you? He wants to kill you. And as long as you stay on his territory, you are a subject to him. But when God told you to leave, he put a leash on the enemy. And he said, you can go, but you better watch what you say. Skip down to verse 36. And Jacob was wroth and showed with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin that thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, thou hast not found of all thy household stuff. Set it here before thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. My ewes and my she-goats have not cast, thy ewes and she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was in the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times, except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me. Surely thou hadst sent me away now empty. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. Now I'm going to skip over real quick to 2 Chronicles chapter number 25. You don't have to go there. I'm going to read it for you. But if you want it for your reference, it's 2 Chronicles 25 verse 5. Moreover, Amaziah gathered Judah together and made them captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, according to the houses of their fathers throughout all Judah and Benjamin. And he numbered them from, and this is what you need to hear, 20 years old and above, and found them 300,000 choice men able to go forth to war that could handle spear and shield. Why is this important? 20 years of age was the accepted age of full maturity in the Bible for military assignment. Unlike in our army that tells you you can be all that you can be, come as you are, we'll train you. This scripture shows us that they had to be fully trained in weaponry by the time they reached 20 years of age, and at 20 they were mature enough to go to battle. So I want to talk about the fact that Jacob was there with Laban 20 years. Why? Because he needed to mature. He came to him a deceiver. And I'm not talking about a natural age of 20 years, but he had to mature spiritually. He came to him a deceiver, a liar, a cheat, a thief. When he left, he came back worshiping God. Amen. Those 20 years was a time of preparation. You see, from that point, he had been the deceiver. Sometimes God lets you go through stuff to show you yourself. He lets you get with somebody a little bigger and better than you are, to show you you're not the biggest thing in town, to show you that you can't do it by yourself. You think you can make it by your wit? Let me show you somebody that can take everything you ever had from you. You need me. You need to be able to trust me. You need to rely on me. You need to know that I am your God and you are my people. 20 years it took him before he could come back, because he needed to mature. This is important. He had 20 years. He had to break that familial chain of deceit and trickery. 20 years it took him to get to the place where he could repent. 20 years it took him to get to the place that he knew what he did was wrong. When he got ready to go back, he said, I've got to make it right with Esau. I've got to find my brother, and I've got to make it right with him. He didn't come back saying, I got your birthright. I got your birthright. No, he did not. He came back and he said, I want you to take all these cattle. I want to give him half of what I got. I want to give him an offering for forgiveness. Why? Because I was wrong, and I wronged him. I deceived him. And these 20 years, I found out what it feels like to be deceived. I found out what it feels like to be taken for granted. I found out what it feels like to have a relative mess you up. Yes. You see, sometimes God has to allow us to mature spiritually. We've got to learn how to ask for forgiveness. You see, in the church today, we focus more on your obligation to forgive than on my obligation to repent of what I did to you. When people come and say, I kind of realized, I was wrong. So, can we fix this? No. No. That's not saying I'm sorry. That's not repentance. See, because if you really realize that you was wrong, if you realize what you did, if you realize the pain you inflicted on somebody else, you would come back I would just be blessed for you to just say it's all right. But tell me, what do I have to do to fix it?
Yes. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Jesus.
But we come in saying, I said I was sorry. That's all I can do. If you don't accept it, oh well. So do you realize what you did? Do you realize what you cost me? Do you realize the pain you inflicted? Do you realize the suffering because of the words you spoke? Because of the actions you did? Do you realize that? See, that's what God is saying. You know what? See, two. And that's what we're dealing with here. Double. In the second Sunday of the year 2020, God is saying we've got to understand what we're dealing with here. He said in order for us to get double, we've got to go back and fix some stuff.
All right. All right.
It's too much division in the church.
Yes.
He said two is a sign of unity. I said, really? Yes. He said two of the men become one. He sent his disciples out 2 by 2 so they'd be strengthened as one. Right? He too went into the ship, into the ark, right, so that they could procreate as one. He said, so you need to understand what that means. Two, he said he sent his disciples out 2 by 2. And two becomes one. He said, how can two walk together unless they agree? So two must become one. He said, our agendas, two must become one. Our support, two must become one. Our strength, two must become one. Our vision, two must become one. We've got to, our prayer life, two must become one. We've got to pray together. We've got to fast together. We've got to seek God together. We've got to do it together. Two must become one. We've got to get unified. And if you have a fault with your brother, go back and fix it.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Go back and fix it. Because you can't be blessed where you ran to. That's not where the blessing was. But you ran there because of what you did. And because you haven't repented yet, you haven't matured. You're going to have to stay there until you get to a point of spiritual maturity where two can become one. So some of us have harmed folks. You got family issues, you got some that you won't even talk to. Hopefully you don't got no saints that you won't talk to. Hopefully that's all outside the church. He told Jacob, you got to go back and fix that.
Yes.
And he didn't come bold-faced with Esau. Matter of fact, when he heard Esau was coming to meet him, he said, women and children go first. He still has some maturing to do. He sent the offering ahead. That was the first thing he said. He sent the offering ahead. So, to appease him, he knew what he took from him. He said, so let me start returning some of what I took. See, some folks want you to forgive them, but ain't ready to pay the debt.
Amen.
But he sent back some of what he took, because now he had a lot. And he said, servants, you go forth with this, and I'm going to hang back with my family. Then he put his family there, because he had to have some time with God. And this is where he had a second encounter with the Lord. And he wrestled with him. See, See, because you've got to do some growing. When we enter into 2020, he said that's what 2019 was all about. 2019 was about maturing. 2019 was about growing. 2019 was about learning from our mistakes. He said, now that you've done that, as we're about to move into 2020, you need to fix stuff that you broke in 2019. You've got to forgive some people. You've got to release those burdens that you've been carrying for the last 20 years. And most of that deals with going back and fixing it. What you've broken. He said, now you do that as you go into 2020. And then we move into double-double. Say, well, how does 2020 get to double-double? Well, let's do some simple math. If you have one, and I say, give me 2 of those, I now have 2. If you have 10, and I say, give me 2 of those, I now have 20. I double what I have. So then I began to see this thing, and I said, well, Lord, I'm not into, the number thing, I said, but help me understand. He said, now 2, right, in our simple math is double. I said, okay, but what's 20? He said, well, 10 is a number of completion. He said, so in 2020, to get your double-double, he said 2019, you had to complete some stuff. See, so we're going to complete some stuff. Some of the stuff you've been going through, that you've been struggling with for years, we got to complete that. It's going to come to an end. Some of our struggles that we've been dealing with, some of those same trials that we've been going through, he said, this going to complete some stuff in 2020. It's going to close that out so you can move on to something new. So God says so we can be blessed with where he has us to go. He said this is a new encounter with God. He said when Jacob got there, he had to have a fresh anointing. He had to go to Bethel for himself. You see, because most of us came up in the church, we knew something from somebody. We knew what we had been taught. We knew how we had been raised. He said, now Pastor mentioned, we just had the service for Mother Harper. And we talked about her legacy.
Yes.
And everything she did. And I know in my family, Pastor Gregory, and the legacy he left, he said, but you are living off of Abraham's anointing. You've been living off of Isaac's anointing. You've been living off of their prayers. He said, now in 2020, you've got to go to Bethel for yourself. He said, because I'm going to give you a fresh anointing. It's a new encounter. And we're going to take you beyond where they were. They didn't want us to stay where they were. They didn't want us to copy their steps. They wanted their steps to take us here. And now we take our own to go further. He said 2020 is double. Where they went, you go double in the other direction. Time is winding up. He said every revelation I gave them was to get you to this point. Now you must take that revelation and go double. You've got to seek God beyond that. You say it takes so many years for God to get us to understand something. And it might have took them 20 years for them to get what God was giving to them. But they gave us in maybe 20 minutes what they learned over 20 years. Every time we were in a Bible class, he didn't get that. He might have been a 1-hour Bible class. It probably took him a year to learn that from the Lord. He said, so you've already been expedited. They gave you everything they learned. Now you take from masters. You go 6 months or 9 months. They crunch it all into a very quick course so you can learn it quickly and go out and use it. God said, that's what I'm about to do to you. I'm about to teach y'all some stuff very, very quickly. I'm about to take you places faster than you've ever been before. Why? Because time is winding up and I don't have 20 years for you to get there. He said healing needs to happen and I don't have 20 years for you to get there. Deliverance needs to happen and I don't have 20 years for you to get there. He said I need my people to take the lead and I don't have 20 years for you to get there. So I'm going to open up some doors. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way. I'm going to give you favor. Why? Because we got to do this thing. And we got to do this thing quickly. 2020, I need you to go double speed ahead. I need double ground taken. I need double souls saved. I need double seats that are filled in a pew. I can't deal with one person coming in. I need 2. I need 20. I need 40. I need 60. I need 80. It's double. Yes. Get moving. Get the vessel. I'm going to give you a fresh anointing. I'm going to give you a fresh encounter. It's time to go. 2020. Fast. I began to pat myself on the back about, oh Lord, look how many events we did in 19. He said double them. I said, how am I do that? He said double them. 2020 means double. You put in twice as much time. I'll give you twice as much increase. He said you put in twice as much prayer. I'll give you twice as much anointing. You put in twice as much fasting. I'll give you twice as much deliverance. Why? Because it's 2020. I'm going to give you a new anointing. It's time, saints. Double. I said 2020 is double. God, I can't. I'm not dealing with no single stuff. I'm not looking for 1, but I'm looking for 2. I'm not looking for 2, I'm looking for 4. And if you give me 4, I'm looking for 8. You give me 8, I'm looking for 16. You give me 16, I'm going to 32. Matter of fact, why don't we just skip it and go to 64? I don't know about you, but I'm already feeling it. I'm already feeling a move. He said, I begin to teach. Right? He began to tell us that it's about what you say. Watch what you say. He said, watch what you say. Watch what you think. Don't limit me. Stop saying what I can't do. He said, now that you've learned to stop limiting me, now that you have changed the way you talk, now that you are not complaining, but you are rejoicing. Instead of you talking to the obstacle, you're saying, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. He said, now that we have matured, now it's about blessing. Hallelujah. The altar is open.